Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing some science and we're going to be looking at the rock cycle. We're going to be doing an experiment with Starburst, so that's one of the things that you're going to need. You're also going to need a knife and a plate to cut them on, and then after that you're going to need some one sandwich bag and a book to make pressure, and then you're going to need some boiling water and a pot to put it in, and some foil that you're going to let it melt in. And don't forget, you always need to have an adult around as well, because you can't do this on your own because you might do something dangerous. Let's start the experiment. Okay, so the first step is obviously to open up the wrappers so you've got your 4 Starburst on your plate. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it up into loads of different pieces by cutting long stripes, and then I'm going to cut those up into little pieces too. Okay, so I've cut up all of my pieces now, and I've got 4 different types of rock. Now we're going to make a sedimentary rock first, and a sedimentary rock is basically a rock that's made up of lots of other pieces of rocks and other things. Another important thing about sedimentary rocks is that they have layers. So the first thing I'm going to do that is I'm going to take all of these pieces and I'm going to mush them all up together. Okay, so I've made my sedimentary rock now, and I know that because it's made up of lots of different types of rocks, and if you look at it, it has loads of different layers. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a metamorphic rock. Okay, now to make our metamorphic rock, you're going to need your rock that you've made, your sedimentary rock, and your sandwich bag and a book. Now the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to put your sedimentary rock into your sandwich bag, and then using the book we're going to create heat and pressure to turn it into a metamorphic rock, because that's what a metamorphic rock needs. So that's what I'm going to do now. Before I use the book, I'm just going to use my hands. I'm just going to do that, create as much heat as I can with my hands, and then once I'm happy with how hot it is, I'm going to use the book to flatten it out. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to take it out and I'm just going to fold it a couple of times to create more layers, and I'm going to use the book to flatten it again to create even more heat. So I'm going to do the exact same step again. Okay, right, now I've made my metamorphic rock. So if you know your science very well, there's only one more type of rock left that we haven't looked at, and that is our igneous rock. Now our next step is a little bit harder and it will take a little bit longer. Okay, now that I've got my metamorphic rock, I'm going to need my hot water, which I've just boiled the kettle for, my pot, and my foil. Now the first thing you're going to need to do, so you don't make a mess, is just make a little bowl out of your foil and then put it in your pot. So I'm just going to do this, so it makes a really nice bowl shape. And I'm going to take it out and put my metamorphic rock inside it. Once I've done that, I'm going to put my pot onto the stove and pour my hot water into it. Okay, now I've got my hob ready and my pot ready. I'm going to pour some hot water into here. I'm not going to do too much. I just want enough so I know that my metamorphic rock will melt. So I'm happy with that. After I've done that, I'm going to put my foil with my rock inside. My rock isn't going to get wet because the foil is protecting it. Now I'm going to place it onto the hob and I'm going to turn it on and wait for it to melt. Okay, as you can see, after it's been on the heat for a little while, it's starting to melt a little bit and bubble a tiny bit on the sides as well. I'm just going to leave this a little bit longer, and then once it's bubbling even more, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, now at this stage, you can't really see it very clearly, but I've got a few bubbles coming up, which means that it's turning into magma or lava. Now, make sure at this point you do not touch anything, including the foil or the starburst or the rock, okay? Because it's going to be really hot. Now, when a metamorphic rock turns into a igneous rock, it has some bubbles like this one here. And then after it gets really hot like this, you're going to need to leave it to cool afterwards. So I'm going to turn this off now. And then I'm going to find somewhere safe to put it to let it cool. And then once it's cooled, I'm going to show you what it looks like. I've let my igneous rock cool now. And I know it's an igneous rock because if you come closer and take a look, if I try and take it off, it's all solidified now because I let it cool. And it's gone really hard and it's getting harder to bend. So the metamorphic rock was all soft and all melted together, but now this is really solid and it's in harder pieces. So that is what your igneous rock should look like. Okay, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. Just to recap, a sedimentary rock is a rock that has layers and is made up of lots of different types of rocks. A metamorphic rock is when it's created by heat and pressure, and then our igneous rock is created when it's melted, boiled, bubbled, and then it cools to form the igneous rock. Hope you enjoyed it and watch my next video, please.